And what you call 3 players in for 60,000.
I'm really hoping to flop a 5 here.
Flop is ace, jack, 6 with 2 clubs.
Oh, I'm
And
done with
Bruce
this hand.
first.
If anyone puts a bet in, I'm done.
$120,000.
120,000 from Bruce.
Yeah, well, that's a bet. That bet of 3/4 of the pot suggests that he's protecting a made hand from the possible draws. The texture of the board determined his bet. And let's see if our little tilt monster is going to play.
Call.
Wow.
And Butch called.
Have I fallen in love with this pocket pair? Hell no.
Phil lays it down. We got 2 cards left. A very big pot developing here. 2 cards left. Turn card is a 7.
Check.
Bruce checks it to Butch.
If Bruce has a strong hand and he's trying to induce a bluff, he's running the risk of giving a free card. I would absolutely not take the chance of giving a free card in this situation. This board is very threatening and the pot is already very big. When the pot is very large and I think I've got the best hand, I want to bet very aggressively and win that pot immediately. I do not give free cards.
Check.
And a check.
Well, someone just made a mistake.
1 card remains. It's a king of clubs.
Do you see what just happened? The free card on the river may have completed a flush draw or a straight draw. Giving free cards is like playing Russian roulette. Don't do it.
$250,000.
250,000 from Bruce.
Here we go.
I call.
And it's called.
All right, let's get a showdown, boys.
Biggest pot of the
Nice
tournament
pot.
so far.
All right, I can't wait to see this hand.
Aces, top pair. Club flush.
River to flush.
Kidding me.
Club flush for Bruce. And he wins a huge pot. And is taking the chip lead.
All right, so I had it backwards. It was Butch, the cool guy, who gave the free card. If Butch would have bet strong enough to protect his hand on the turn, Bruce probably would have folded his drawing hand and not be stacking the chips right now. Why didn't Butch bet to protect his hand on the turn? My guess is that he was trying for a cheap showdown because he was worried that his pair of aces with the 8 kicker was beaten by a pair of aces with a better kicker. In other words, Butch was afraid he was dominated, so he played this hand timidly. This is just another reason why I don't play dominated hands. The key lesson here is to avoid giving free cards. Before we go on to the next lesson, let's consider what Butch's play would be if Bruce had checked on the river. In this case, Butch should clearly check. If Butch bets, he will only be called if Bruce can beat his hand. Many novice players make the mistake of continuing to bet medium-strength hands after the river card. Your opponents never make mistakes when you bet those medium-strength hands. If they have you beat, they're going to call. If they don't have you beat, they're going to fold. In this case, there's no upside for betting, only a downside. Only bet after the river if that bet can make you money.
Butch's first act. Still steaming a bit from the last hand.
Looks like cool guy's on tilt and he's likely to play too many hands and play them too aggressively. I want to take advantage of this.
Raise 50,000.
He's going to raise it 50,000 straight away.
I'm just going to call here. I have position on Butch for the rest of the hand, and I believe this raise is large enough to chase out the blinds.
So Gordon calls.
Again.
And he passes. Bruce passes.
Fold, Chris, fold. Let me have this guy heads up. All right, perfect.
Ferguson passes. Heads up pot. Flop is queen 5-3 now to Butch. Butch bets 35,000.
That is a tell. He is showing a classic example of acting strong to compensate for a weak hand. This is very reliable when a player is on tilt. The opposite is also true. Players with good hands will often try to act weak or unintimidating in order to invite a call. I'm going to trust my read on Butch and act on it.
Raise.
Phil Gordon is going to raise this pot.
The fact that I have position makes it easier for me to put Butch to the test.
Makes it 200,000.
I'm going to give you credit this time.
No call, and Phil Gordon wins the pot.
Good lay down.
Does a good laydown.
One difference between good players and great players is that the great players make a read of a situation and then they're willing to act decisively on it. A lot of players could have picked up on Butch's tell, but not many would be willing to commit a large chunk of their stack to act on it. Believe me, it's scary to make a big bluff or call down a big bet with a weak hand, even when you know in your gut that you're right. But to be a great player, you've got to be willing to act on your reads. All right, let's take a look at the updated chip count. Whoa, nice chip trick, Butch. Butch has donated 2/3 of his chips. Most of them went to Bruce, who now has a dominating lead with about twice the chip stack of his nearest competitor. That'd be me. But I've still got 30 big blinds and enough time to pick my battles. All right, let's get back to the table. You can almost see the steam coming out of Butch's head right now. A6 offsuit. I'm going to fold here. If I raise 3 times in a row, it's very likely another player will challenge me. I don't want to be challenged with this dominated hand.
Phil folds. How many passes? Bruce is also out. It's up to Chris Ferguson. Chris raises the pot. He makes it 60,000.
Call.
And Butch calls.
Chris is probably wondering what I'm wondering. What the hell is Butch smooth calling with?
Flop is King 7 Deuce. 3 different suits. Ferguson's first. And Chris bets 70,000.
Let's make it 170.
170,000. And Chris calls.
Butch is in big trouble. When a great player like Chris smooth calls a raise out of position, hear alarm bells ringing.
Turn card is a deuce. King 7 Deuce Deuce. Chris checks it.
I'm all in.
All in.
I call.
And Chris Ferguson's called.
Oh, boy.
Sorry, Butch.
Yeah, sorry, Butch.
7's full. Chris Ferguson.
Wow, Butch fell in love with his top pair and he walked right into the trap.
Kings and deuces with a queen for Butch. One card left is an ace. And Butch has been eliminated by Chris Ferguson.
What's up, right now?
Butch played his top pair like a rookie and he went broke with it. He fell in love with his pair of kings and he ignored what was an obvious warning sign. The smooth call by Chris after the flop. Look, I know it's really tough to lay down the top pair, but then again, nobody said winning tournaments was easy. Avoid this common rookie blunder. Don't go broke with one pair.